Good evening. It is 7:05, Wednesday, June 3rd, 2020. This is a public hearing of the Town of Speedway Board of Zoning Appeals. I'm Mike Simonson, Chairman of the Board. Other members in attendance this evening are Mike Allen, our Vice Chairman, Tyler Carmichael, our Secretary, and Steve Jones, a member of the Board. Also in attendance is Tim Ramian, our Recording Secretary, and representing the Indianapolis Department of Metropolitan Development is Ms. Kathleen Blackham. Have all who wish to speak been sworn in?
Yes, they have.
Thank you. Would all please mute or turn off any cell phones at this time? Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Rules for those who wish to speak at tonight's hearing. The petitioner, remonstrator, or proponent will each have 15 minutes to present their side. After their presentations, we will hear a report from DMD from Ms. Blackham. After her report, the petitioner, remonstrator, or proponents will have a 5-minute rebuttal period. First order of business is to approve the minutes from our previous meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review them, and are there any corrections or changes we need to address?
I would make a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
The motions are approved as presented. Tonight's variance is 2020 DVS 003, 6330 Debonair Lane, better known as Crew Car Wash. Will the petitioner or their representative step to the podium and state your name and address for the record?
Good evening. My name is Austin Tracy. I am a civil engineer with Hamilton Designs, 11988 Fishers Crossing Drive, Fishers, Indiana, 46038. I appreciate your time this evening, allowing us to present this petition that would allow this new commercial development in your guys' community. I'm joined tonight by Justin Furr. He is the Director of Development with Crew Car Wash. To explain the request, we initially began this project in the fall, coordinating the layout with Rebar Development, who's the overall development, and their master plan. It was determined during this process that what has been presented in front of you guys is the optimal site layout in terms of the car wash operations, customer safety, and just the cohesion with the overall development. Additionally, the access for our site is being provided by an internal access road proposed within the overall development north of the car wash. It was during the improvement location permit coordination with the City of Indianapolis that it was brought to our attention that a variance would be needed for off-street stacking along a public right-of-way. This specific section was Chapter 743, Section 06, subsection I of the City of Indianapolis Consolidated Zoning Ordinance. The proposed layout is the Crew Car Wash standard left turn in layout and provides an easy access to the site and the option for utilizing the vacuums upon the car's exit from the site. Many of the Crew Car Wash locations around the area have the same configuration with the same stacking along the public road. It's not a unique request for Crew Car Wash. They do have most of their sites set up like this. The layout, we provide 32 stacking spaces to the point of sale and then an additional 8 stacking spaces leading into the car wash. I think the site plan that's been provided shows pretty well exactly what we'd like to do, how it functions. I think it's a good layout. There's been a lot of thought put into this with both Crew Car Wash and the overall developer to kind of come up with this, and we do believe it's cohesive. So just to kind of summarize our petition, due to the car wash operations, safety, and the cohesion, we respectfully request this variance to allow the development of the car wash with this layout configuration.
Staff had a concern about the additional 4 vacuums on the southeast part of the site that are kind of almost in a standalone section. Are those something that are absolutely necessary? Is there any way they could possibly move over along the building frontage where the other vacuums are, or would you be willing to just delete them altogether to relieve the concern?
For the record, Justin Furr, Director of Real Estate and Development for Crew Car Wash, address 10251 Hague Road, Indianapolis, Indiana 46256. We could actually fairly easily swap the employee parking spaces that are next to the building, which would be, I guess, north and west of the vacuums in question, and move the vacuums to that area. So just swap those two things. That would not be an issue.
There's also some questions about the landscaping along the Crawfordsville Road section of the more of a buffer for the stacking of the cars.
Okay.
And I guess what is the elevation change between what the finished grade of your driveway or your access to the car wash in Crawfordsville Road?
A couple feet.
Yeah, so there's, I believe it'd be about 5 feet or so.
5 feet higher?
Higher.
5 feet from, and that's from the sidewalk to that, from the road. We don't have spot shots on the road, but from that existing sidewalk there. And I would say that's 5 feet over 15 to 18 feet.
And that'll be a grass
Yeah, grass
hillside or-
3 to 1. 3 to 1, yeah, typical slope. It'll be able to be grass and mowed. There shouldn't be any issue with that. It's not,
But the visually, your drive and the street level are not going to be at the same level, so
it'll be higher than the street, yes.
one of their concerns was the confusion with cars coming the wrong direction from the vehicles on the roadway, but if they're at a completely different elevation, I think that will help
Yeah, it should
change
be.
that a little bit.
Yeah, no less than 5 feet, I would say.
Yeah, customer in their vehicle would see an earthen, you know,
Mhm.
a mound, grass mound,
Yeah.
as they're driving by.
Questions for the
No.
petitioner?
Don't
have any questions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone who wishes to speak for or against the petition?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, good evening. My name's Shelby Bowen with Rebar Development, address 8700 North Street, Suite 120, Fishers, Indiana, 46038. And as Justin and Austin mentioned, we are the developer and also the land seller. And I just want to talk contextually about Crew and our partnership with them and how we arrived here. I'll let the folks who understand planning well get into the detail, but I thought it was important to kind of understand how we arrived here. A couple years ago when we started exploring this opportunity and the town had open houses, one of the primary requests we had for this development was a car wash. And so, that was our top 3 after multiple charrettes and feedback. And so we sought out what we thought was best in class, who could be the absolute best partner if we're going to pursue a car wash. And I think that if you've been in Indiana for the last decade or more, Crew certainly is best in class. And so we were excited about them joining the development really at the onset. And they've done everything we've asked them. I'm really a little embarrassed that we're here seeking a variance. It means that maybe I missed something in the initial zoning because we knew all along that Crew was going to be an integral part of this development. But with that being said, I understand attention to detail on the planning side, but I just want to say contextually, they've been a fantastic partner. They've done everything we've asked, including Austin and his team, working with our engineers to try to design a site that was optimal based on Crawfordsville Road, internal and external access, and every visual and safety precaution, and then also architecture. They've just been fantastic partners. And so we all along have wanted them to be a part of this. I hope you'll consider favorably passing their request for this variance. And I think they're a good fit and a good partner, and I think it fits well on this site. Any questions for me as developer? No? Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Anyone else who wishes to speak for or against the petition?
Good evening. Tim Grop, Executive Director of the Speedway Redevelopment Commission, representing the town of Speedway this evening. We just wanted to touch base on a few items here. As Shelby had mentioned, we had contemplated this very early on. We felt that this project fit a need that the community was looking for. If you look up and down Crawfordsville Road, understanding that ordinances change and rules change a little bit, but this is a common look. This isn't going to look out of place when you go down Crawfordsville Road. It's a main corridor. There's fast food chains. There's banks. There's all kinds of drive-throughs up and down there. Part of this development was to fill needs of the community and try to put some of the pieces we heard together. We feel that this is the right one. As Shelby said, this is the premier car wash that you want in your town. They've been wonderful to work with. The architecture looks good. As far as the height, we brought kind of where they're at. If you go out there even right now as they're filling dirt, and we wanted to keep everything on site. There was obviously a lot of soil on site, and it would have cost a lot of money to take that off. So if you go out there now, you can kind of see the 4-foot level difference that will be the finished grade. So it's a pretty good slope up just to get them even started at this point, to get their pad ready. We have a little bit of concern of adding too much landscaping along Crawfordsville Road. We want the community, we want our visitors, we want our guests to be able to see the overall development. Obviously, there's still some gaps here. Some of this is conceptual, but we don't want to just block off the development from Crawfordsville Road and have you guessing what's in there as well. So while we're fine with the site looking nice and being well landscaped, we don't want to go too overboard. It's already higher than your Crawfordsville Road corridor, and then you're going to add more height to that. You're going to start to block the overall development. So we want to be a little cautious on that side of the design as well. But this is something that we would have never contemplated being an issue, especially when you look at the overall development down Crawfordsville Road's corridor. Unfortunately, as you're doing the development process, it's not until you get to the ILP portion that you catch some of these problems. But we offer we look for your support this evening. The town council, Councilor Raikes is here to speak as well, and the redevelopment commission is excited about this project. We're working hard through many issues to get this project up and going, and it's been a good partnership. We think it's going to be positive for the community, and we urge your support on the project. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Good evening. I'm Gary Raikes. I'm a resident on 5420 West 15th Street and also a member of the town council. Been before you before and here again to support an investor in the town. At least 10 years ago, I met an executive with what was Mike's Car Wash, is now Crew Car Wash, and told him we had a dream for them to eventually be in our town or someone like them to be in our town. This person was in charge of customer experience. And haven't met or talked to him since, probably 8-9 years ago. But what he told me about was what I've come to experience as a customer. When I go to Brownsburg or Avon or Plainfield or down to Evansville or up to Fort Wayne or different places where they have locations, is an amazing customer experience. On top of all that, they're the kind of company that invests in people, young people. Their management training program is incredible. If you have not been to Crew Car Wash, you probably haven't seen anything quite like it. If you have been, they train their people tremendously, and those people tend to live in your community. And so there'd be an investment in our community trying to hire folks that need jobs, particularly in this COVID-19 environment and other things we're experiencing. So I'd certainly encourage you to support this petition, and I thank you for the work you guys do. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks. Anyone else who wishes to speak for or against? Seeing none, we'll now hear a report from DMD.
Thank you, Chairman Simon, members of the board. Kathleen Blackham with the Metropolitan Development Commission, 200 East Washington Street. You'll note staff is recommending denial, and you also know that staff supports the ordinance. You've heard this story and this statement from me over and over again. And Mr. Grop had talked to me just prior to the hearing and said, well, we have these other businesses along Crawfordsville Road with stacking spaces in the front yard. The difference is that with the recent ordinance that was approved, and we can't call it new anymore, it's been around since 2016, but there is a provision in there that doesn't prevent stacking in the front yard. And that is why they are here for you this evening, before you asking for this. We have had a number of these requests come through our office because it's something that new that developers are having to deal with. And in order to maintain, we understand there are different situations, and the fact that they have raised it up does, I think, mitigate some of the impact of that stacking space in the front yard. But the fact remains is that it's in violation, or it's not compliance with the ordinance. And the reason why that we have been told is that when you've got stacking spaces, it can be confusing for pedestrians as well as travelers, and that's the reason why that provision has been added to the ordinance. Staff did indicate in the staff report that if this is approved, there needs to be some enhanced landscaping, and I know and that's why staff put evergreen shrubs as a suggestion, because they're going to be lower. They will not grow tall and block out the businesses, and we want to be sympathetic with that. But at the same time, there needs to be some kind of buffer, both visually and kind of a separation between those stacking spaces that are in the front yard and along Crawfordsville Road. And appreciate the fact that you picked up on the 4 vacuums and that they're willing to change that, because it's, again, that's something that should not be in the front yard. But with that, staff would be glad to answer any questions that you might have.
There's some discussion or notation about the wellfield protection area. Is there concern with the chemicals that they use in washing cars, or what's the?
Not that I'm aware of, but they have to go through that process because it is in the well field, and it is through the permitting process. It will go through that review. And the well field, the company that the city has contracted with will review that, and if there are some issues, and it will come up during the permitting process. And I don't know whether they've already run into that, but if they haven't, they will. They will have to deal with the well field. But it's not one of those that is prohibited, like a gas station. It's one of those that the use you want to call attention to and make sure that it's not going to contaminate the groundwater. And so there may be some additional provisions that they'll have to add as part of the development.
Questions for Kathleen?
I have none. No, Kathleen, you answered mine.
Okay. And I'm glad that you have that visual, because it was difficult. This has been recently platted and approved, this parcel. And it's going to be, obviously, it's identified right there. I included the plat in the staff report so that you could see what's happening there. But
still
what
a
I
little
should have
harder
done is to identify the area.
I requested
Yeah.
that they bring something in to give us a better visual of.
Sure.
where on this site
That's a big
be.
site, yes. Yep,
That's a very nice site plan that they have up there.
yeah. Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Now open for rebuttals. Is there any other comments or answers you have?
Yeah, again, Justin Furr from Crew Car Wash. I would just confirm that we have been through the well-field TQP process, and that has been approved. We provided a number of different pieces of communication and information that was requested, and that has been approved, and so we're through that process.
So, would you be open to adding some additional lower-level landscaping on the Crawfordsville Road frontage of the property?
We would. As suggested, I think the low-level evergreen shrubs make sense. It helps delineate that area, and it wouldn't.
Boxwoods or something that just,
We generally use boxwoods in our landscaping, so something to that effect would not be an issue for us to add there in between the trees that are, I think, currently shown on the landscaping plan.
the plan looks very nice as it's presented.
Thank you.
You could just embellish it a little bit there along Crawfordsville Road. That'd
We can,
be great, and we'll include that in the letter.
absolutely.
If approved, when's your estimated time of completion?
The COVID-19 has changed plans for everybody. We were planning to start right away. As you may or may not know, we were closed down for a few weeks. Luckily, we were able to reopen with all the proper safety precautions. But it's changed a number of things for us. So we'd intended to start right away. At this point, we've kind of pushed it off till the spring. So we would start as soon as the weather would allow, likely early March of 2021.
Okay.
As far as the chemicals you guys use, I'm sure they're all environmentally friendly nowadays.
That's correct, yes. We have the MSDS sheets, and we provided those to the well field, but we are able to discharge that, anything that we use into the sanitary.
Collect and filter everything that's in
That's,
the tunnel.
we do. We reuse 50% of the fresh water that we take from the municipal utility, and we reuse that to wash the car over and over, so we're recycling it constantly. We have a very large, thousands of gallons, 6-part sediment tank, so all of the solids settle out in underground tanks. Those are pumped out by Midwest Mole, and those are taken off-site. They're clean. It's clean fill, but it's taken off-site on a regular basis. But that water, it goes through that process. It goes through hydrocyclones, and it's safe to drink. We've not done it, but the people that sell the mechanical equipment, they will come out and actually drink the water that's recycled. So
Parts of them.
it's safe and clean. They're still around to drink it again, I guess.
They're clean on both sides. Any other questions for the petitioner?
No.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. I'll entertain a motion to vote on the,
I'll make the motion for a vote.
Second.
And that's, so that's including some extra landscaping on the front side and moving the
vacuums.
vacuums.
Yes.
Petition 2020 DVS 003 is approved 4-0.
Is there any other business to come before our board this evening? Seeing none, we are adjourned at 7:30.